Good afternoon, friends. I'm Dr. Ajay Shah, and we are bringing this another great live. Today, I have a special guest, so just hang in there for a second. Let me give you an update on our page. We have now almost 93,000 followers, pretty much from all over the world. 25,000 from US, about 10, 15,000 from India. So we are definitely growing. We are also on YouTube, Healthy Living with Dr. Ajay Shah, and that channel is growing too. We have about 200 videos on YouTube now, all about healthy living, happiness, how to reverse diabetes, many topics actually. My wife is also giving this live cooking demonstration with all healthy, whole food, plant-based cooking. So please stay tuned for that. And we are also, starting a new series from tomorrow with Dr. Farah Abbasi about women and mental well-being. So please stay tuned for that. I will be posting a flyer on that new series with Dr. Abbasi. Today, I have a great guest. She's a yoga teacher for years. She also is a meditation teacher. I knowing her, she's a great leader. She has in-person classes in the Metro Chicago area, and she's also giving online classes too now. So, that guest is Saba Haider. So let's welcome Saba Haider. Welcome, Saba.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shah. Thank you so much for welcoming me. I was just copying your link, so I'm able to share this with my people on my Facebook page. So if you could just give me one moment, and that will be wonderful.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
I like your setup. Definitely, I think we have a lot of guests, but I think with your kind of setup and your kind of background, real physical background is wonderful. I mean, you
Yes.
are putting us into the moment and in your studio and the way you do your online classes. So that's very impressive.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. You know how I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I wanted to teach online classes because I have my roots in India. And so people would often say, oh, you're teaching yoga over there. I want to practice with you. How can you practice with you? And I would usually have no answer for them. So I wanted to be able to teach online for them. And I just sort of, kept postponing. Life wasn't letting me do it. And then this happened. We went under, COVID-19 circumstances. And suddenly all my classes are not happening, because we are not able to get together. We're not able to meet. And so I was, in a way, universe was like, all right, I'm going to push you to do this. You've been postponing this for a long time. And the universe pushed me into doing it. And now I teach several classes a week online, and people from all over the world are joining and attending the classes. And it's been just such a blessing, just trying to see the silver lining among all of the craziness right now. So yeah, I'm glad you enjoy my setup. This is where I teach my classes. Thank you.
Yes. So let's start with your roots. I just heard that you grew up in India. So please tell us your childhood and who influenced you in your childhood.
Yes, thank you. I grew up in India. I was born and raised in India. And when I was 22 years old, I moved to the US. And me and my husband had come to the US on a small short-term project that he was doing. And we thought, oh, it's going to be fun. We'll go to the US, spend 8 months in the US and come back. That was it. That was all my intention. And 14 years later, I'm still here, Dr. Shah. And so growing up in India, I grew up in the northern part of India. I live outside of my family live outside of the suburbs of Delhi. So my childhood was spent in the north of India, which is really the hotbed of yoga, Rishikesh and Haridwar and places like that. That's the hotbed of yoga. And so I sort of grew up around that environment. And I was lucky enough that my mother, she would get up in the morning and she'll start do all these crazy movements. Like first thing in the morning, she'll get up on her bed. She hasn't left the bed yet. On her bed, she would get up and she'll dart, like up and down and things like that. growing up, I thought this was the craziest thing to do. And I'm like, my mom is just, she's something else. But now that I'm grown up, I see that how dedicated she was to her practice. And she knew that she is a mom of three and she's busy and she doesn't have time. So she took the opportunity of creating time for herself. So she was on her bed. She didn't wear yoga pants. She didn't have a yoga mat. Her bed was her place, her sacred place. And she would start doing that. So I grew up watching her practice. And I remember I probably must have been, 7, 8 years old. And finally, my mom decided that I need to go and do yoga with her. And back in the day in India, we used to have, one cartoon that would come every evening. And that time was for me to watch cartoons. And my mom is asking me to leave my He-Man and go and do yoga. And I was just so angry. I'm like, no, I want to watch He-Man. So, but she forced me. She said, no, you have to come and you have to practice yoga. And I went with her and I took my first class with her. We didn't have any mats, we didn't have anything. And it was just a big park and someone's teaching in the park, and we are practicing with him. And I'm complaining how the grass is itchy, and I'm finding all sorts of excuses of just getting myself out of the situation, run home and watch TV. So I remember my neighbor, my next door neighbor was with us as well. It was probably, I want to say November. It's slightly cold. It's slightly cooler, and North India gets quite cool. So it's November, and she's wearing a shrug around her to keep herself warm. And she realizes how much I'm complaining. So she takes off her shrug, her shawl, and she spreads it out for me on the grass. And she goes, here you go. This is your mat. Now practice. Now you have nothing to complain about. And so I did practice on that. And then after the class was over, I started to fold her shawl back. And as I'm folding her shawl back, I realized that there was a piece of gum on the ground, and that gum is stuck to her shawl. And I'm just petrified. As an 8-year-old, I just ruined my neighbor's shawl, her shrug, and there's a piece of gum on it. And till this day, I never told a soul, except for your 100,000 followers on Facebook Live, that I've ruined her shawl with a piece of gum. And that memory just stuck with me. And that those are some of the memories from my, early childhood and just growing up with yoga, and my mom being an inspiration for me in my practice.
Yeah. No, I think that's very, very important. I think sometimes our parents know what is good for us, and we obviously, resist that. But I think when we go back, when we are in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and just for me, the same thing. I have so many instances of my mom, particularly mom, more dad also, but more so mom, about giving me certain lessons of life. Like I remember one time I was playing outside at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and at noon we had the exam, the test at noon. And I kept playing 9:30, and finally my mom came and got slight angry, not very angry, slight angry that, come on, I mean, you have a big test today, you're still playing outside. And I took it very personally for half an hour. But when I got the results and everything else, I remember, like you said, that instance has been like glued in my head, that my mom got angry when it was necessary for my betterment. And I think parents are the biggest role models for most kids, and those values they instill in us, I think, stay with us until our last day on this earth. So I think big salute to our parents. So let's start with our topics. Tell us, I want to learn everything about meditation. A lot of our followers, obviously, they have heard about it. Some of them practice it, but at the same time, the science, the benefits, the physiology. How does the meditation affect us as humans, and what are some of the proven benefits, and what things in medicine we know now with different type of tests how the meditation helps?
That's an excellent question. And I think this is the type of question that will convert the non-believers into believers. There are people who think that meditation is all hippy dippy and you just sit and you breathe, and they don't believe as much. And then there are others who are believers. So how do we cross that bridge? How we make the non-believers into believers? And now, thankfully, there was a time when in 1970s and 1980s, when meditation or just conducting research, studying meditation, studying self was disreputable. It wasn't considered something that legitimate scientists would do. This was something, a hokey pokey and hippy dippy. Fast forward to the 21st century, all the research that is done throughout the decades from 1960s, 70s, and some are even further back, have given us so much data, have given us so much concrete results, so many concrete results that we have no excuse whatsoever to not believe in the benefits of meditation. There was a research done by, it was in 2005 at Harvard, and they studied the brains of the meditators. Now, what they found was incredibly that those who meditated, that the gray matter of the brain actually grew, was actually bigger. And now, as the part of the cortex that is growing because of meditation, because of the meditation practice, especially the parts that are supposed to control our self-awareness. Then they went further and they found that the parts of the brain that control self-regulation becoming thicker, becoming stronger and bulkier, bigger. Then parts of the brain that control memory. Now, this is something that as we grow older, we struggle with that, right? We suffer from dementia and Alzheimer's and things like that. The part of the brain that controls memory is also growing. The part of the brain that controls awareness, the part of the brain that controls attention span, that is growing. Now, when we have this concrete data with us, when we know that the science is backing what the teachers have been trying to teach us for thousands of years, now this information helps the non-believers cross the bridge and become believers. There's so much data out there that by meditating, we are actually physically changing the structure of the brain. And I think that is just phenomenal that the science is able to back that now. The science is catching up to what the yogis and the teachers as wise men and women have been teaching us for the millennia.
Yeah, I think the study you quoted has been such an important study for everybody to know that until now, some of the benefits of meditation were realized at a personal level and sometimes in a group. But now we have a hardcore science and, matter of fact, physical evidence, not just some, like you said, some abstract evidence, but we have a physical evidence of brain growing, the neuroplasticity. And, I mean, that to me is a biggest reason many doctors are routinely now recommending to practice meditation in many patients with Alzheimer's disease, many patients with dementia, after a stroke. And I think those patients actually benefit as much from meditation as exercise or eating healthy. So I think meditation, and actually our good friend Steve Sharma brought up a very good point. And we also talked with one of the Dr. Neeraj Shah just last week about yoga, that we have the 6 pillars of healthy lifestyle, which includes obviously healthy eating, exercise, and sleep and other things. But Steve Sharma clearly said that all the pillars need actually the foundation. And the foundation easily can be the yoga and meditation. So I think having a person like you come to explain us, teach us, and guide us is so important. But not just somebody who has a knowledge from the books, but somebody who practices every day, somebody who looks like a yoga teacher. I mean, those things are extremely beneficial. So let me ask you, now knowing the benefits are definitely there, if somebody wants to start meditation, what type of meditations are generally available and easy to start? How often they should do it, like once a day, few times a week? And is there any specific time when meditation practice is most beneficial?
Yes. So there are there are a few questions in your question, so I hope I'm able to answer all of them. If I skip any part, please remind me, and we will go back to those parts.
Yeah.
So your first question is that, let's say that someone is a beginner and wants to practice yoga, what should he or she practice? And that is, I hear this all the time, like, I don't know what to do. We hear so much in the media, the benefits of meditation and yoga, and we know it's good for us, but we are left sort of bewildered as to where to start. What do I do? Where do I start from? Who do I go to? What do I do? And I always say that it is helpful to find yourself a teacher to guide you through it, so you have an established practice and you have an understanding of what you are dealing with. Now, think of it as going to the gym. If you start exercising and going to the gym, and if you do not have the knowledge of how to use the equipment, then you will end up hurting yourself, right? You'll pull a muscle, you'll sprain a body part, something will happen. So the best approach would be to find a teacher and start practicing with that teacher. When we approach the teacher, it is not necessary that the style of teaching of that particular teacher will resonate with you. There are different teachers and their styles are different. The way they teach are different. And I would highly, highly implore to all of your listeners to continue their research, continue their search going until they find the right teacher for them, until they find the person that clicks. It's not meditation or yoga per se that does not click with a person. It's the teacher, her style and her way, or his style and their way of teaching that needs to click with the student. Because we all have different temperaments, we all have different body types, we all have different mind types. So it needs to click. The teacher and the student needs to click. And when that clicks, magic happens. Now, the second aspect, let's say that that is not available. The teacher is not available. Let's say that you're not ready to go and approach a teacher just yet. What do you do then? In that case, I invite all those who want to try meditation is to just close your eyes, lean into a wall, sit comfortably, and watch your breath. Just see how the breath is entering the body, see how the breath is leaving the body, and just observe that, just going in and out of the breath through the body. And that itself will do miracles for the body and for the mind. Breath is such a tool that is available to all of us at all times. So we cannot complain that I don't have time to meditate, I do not have time to do this or do. Breath is always there with you. As long as you're breathing, you have that tool and you tap into that breath and you are meditating. That is one aspect. That, let's say that the teacher isn't available and you feel like you're not ready, then go ahead. Find a time in your schedule, close your eyes, lean into a wall or sit on a chair and just close your eyes and watch your breath. And that will do wonders for your health. So that is how a beginner can start a practice. Now, the second question is, when should you do it? When should meditation be practiced during the day? Meditation should be practiced during the day. Again, there is an ideal answer and there is an answer that is practical. The ideal answer is meditation should be done at dawn and dusk, at sunrise and sunset. Those are the ideal times when the two energies are merging together. That's a highly charged environment for meditation, for prayer, for just invoking the higher energies. So ideally, if you can meditate during sunrise and sunset, dusk and dawn, that would be excellent. But let's say that that's not happening. That is not possible for your schedule and you're busy. Then the next option is whenever you are able to practice. Let's say that during lunch hour, during your work break, I teach meditations from 12 to 12:30 p.m. during the afternoon. So now people have lunch break during their work day, so they can take that time out, 30 minutes out of their busy schedule and meditate. Why is that? Because something is better than nothing, right? So rather than not doing anything at all, rather than not investing at all in your mental health, Even if it is in the middle of the day, you will reap tremendous benefits from the practice. So practicing anytime that is available to you. While you're driving the car, you can just start to focus on the breath. But mind you, all the followers, please don't close your eyes while you're driving the car. Keep your eyes open, only focus on the breath. So these are the tools that are available, that are accessible to you at all times. However, ideally sunrise and sunset. If not, just any time, whenever you feel like you're overwhelmed after a busy day, just find yourself a corner. Another thing I would suggest to those who are beginning with their practice is to have a dedicated space to practice. Sit in a specific place every single time you do the meditation. And I think that brings you in the zone. When you're in your house, have like 1 square feet of space for yourself dedicated for your meditation. Have a little cushion in your space and just sit there and meditate. I think that is very helpful as well, because the moment you go and sit in that space, your mind gets into the zone. The mind knows that, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm in that space. I'm sitting on my cushion. I'm sitting on my chair. It's time to meditate. So that helps a lot as well.
Now, I think those are, go ahead.
The third aspect of your question, when should you start meditating? So that was in there as well. The third, when should someone start meditating? For meditation, as early as possible, I would say. I have 2 children. They are 12 and 8 years old, and they have grown up seeing me meditate. And they meditate with me all the time. They meditate with me when I'm teaching classes. Sometimes they're not in front of the camera. They don't like to be in the camera, so they're on the other side of the camera, and they're meditating with me. So for meditation, I would say as early as possible. There is no, see the first aphorism that Patanjali has given us, it says Ath Yoga Anushasanam, which means now is the time to practice yoga. Now, how do I translate that? Now is the time to practice yoga, and how, Dr. Shah, you will translate that, and how anybody else would translate that would be completely different. Because now is the time to practice yoga. Well, does that mean at 12:20 Central Time, is that the time to practice yoga? Does that mean at 30 years of age, at 40 years of age, is that the time to practice yoga? Is it night and day? Is that the time to practice yoga? What does that even mean? Because remember, then the knowledge is being transferred verbally. The information needs to be condensed into as little amounts of words as possible. They have to be jam-packed with information with as little words as possible, so it is easier to transfer that knowledge from one generation to other through oral tradition. So Patanjali is saying, whenever you show up to your practice, day and night, young and old, that is the time to practice yoga. Show up and do the practice, and that is the right time to practice yoga.
Wow, those are some of the excellent points and tips. And I think I personally have significantly benefited from this observing breath. And like you said, we all have busy schedule. Sometimes even between the 2 patients, if I have 5 minutes, I just sit on my chair at work and I close my eyes and I just start observing my breath as if the air is moving through my nostrils, just observing. And initially, I wasn't getting into zone, but now, whenever I do it, I literally feel instantly calm, cool, relaxed. And to be honest with you, that's something I do it on a regular basis. I probably do it, I would say, at least 5 times throughout my 8 hours of work. So 5 times 3-4 minutes. So it's a 20 minute I pack in throughout my 8 hours of work, 20 minutes. You know, obviously my employer might think that I'm wasting that 20 minutes, but actually when I do that 20 minutes in broken way, I'm actually giving my employer 2 to 3 times more productivity back. So actually my employer is actually getting benefit from me doing that 3 minute in between the patient. So I think I highly, like you made such a great point, that now is the time to practice meditation. And any busy person, and actually they said that if you are busy, you need meditation more than anybody else, because busy person actually is the person who has a high levels of cortisol. Busy is the person who has a lot of things to accomplish. Busy is the person who needs more productivity. Busy is the person who needs better sleep. So if you are busy, you need more meditation, not less meditation. So And I think you also said that any age, and I highly, highly agree with you that earlier you start, better for you. And I think wish all parents spend some time with their kids about meditating. And we will cover yoga also, but meditating and a lot of this ADHD, a lot of this attention span issues, even a lot of this grades and other things, drug abuse in the schools and everything will significantly go down if we start kids at an earlier age with meditation. So I think those are some excellent points. So I think, please tell us a little bit about the yoga itself. And I think many times we take yoga and meditation, something is like we should be doing both. But tell us that what is yoga, and is yoga more of a physical aspect of getting relaxed and practicing meditation?
That's an excellent question. And we tend to separate yoga and meditation as two separate entities. However, when we go further back and we start to read the traditional books, we realize that they are not separate, that yoga is taught to us as an eight-limbed philosophy, a philosophy that has 8 parts. Of those 8 parts, meditation is one part. Of those 8 parts, postures, the physical movement, the practice is another part. So thinking of yoga as only movement and separating meditation from the practice of yoga can do a little bit of a disservice to the practice, because yoga in itself is all encompassing, which includes the yams and the niyams, the way of living your life, the principles by which you should live your life, principles like practicing ahimsa, non-violence, living your life following and speaking the truth, standing up for truth, principles like self-study, studying of the scripture, studying of the self, practicing contentment, santosha, things like that. So there are yams and niyams, the things that you should practice and abstain from. And then there comes the asana practice, the physical practice. Then comes the practice of pranayam, the practice of breath work. Then comes pratyahara, the practice of withdrawal of the senses. How can I stop what is happening outside, which is happening at a million mile speed? How can I slow that down and move my awareness inward? Cut that stimuli a little bit coming from the outside and take my awareness inward. Once we have covered these 5, now I'm left with 3, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. And you combine these 3 as meditation, you just call one as meditation, which leads you towards samadhi. I personally feel that all these 3 combined results in meditation, different levels of meditation. And again, hopefully we do this again and I have more time to explain different types of meditative experiences, the stages of samadhi and all of that. But meditation is an integral, a very important part of the yogic practice as well. And as much importance as we give to the physical practice, equal importance needs to be given to the other aspects of this 8-limbed approach to the practice of yoga.
I think that's an excellent point. And I think more I understand, more I hear, more I read, I start to realize that yoga, meditation, all the 8 limbs or 8 aspects of going, inward and going towards the, ultimate destination and samadhi. I think those things, more you learn, more you understand, more you find a teacher and learn from the teacher, I think higher realized soul you will be, and quicker realized soul you will be. And I think that's a reason, bringing person like you to take us to the next level in our life. We all, not just in America, but the whole world, we all are after material thing, after physical thing, after our careers, our family. But many times we actually ignore ourselves as a self. And I think taking that journey to know ourselves more and advancing to be one day a realized person. Obviously, only a rare person gets realized, but our attempt should be that we all have potential to become a Buddha, or we all have potential to become anybody we want to. And actually, I just remember I have a book from Osho, and he has a book called Thousand Ways to Meditate. And he actually pretty much guarantees and assures that you can actually, like you said, one can actually meditate while they are walking. One can actually meditate while they are driving, obviously not with closed eyes, but all those things can be done if you make a background activity of yoga and meditation in your life. I always say make it a background activity. So you are like 24/7 meditating, 24/7 doing some kind of one of the eight aspects what you described. So I think we need more people like you, and I'm so glad we found you. And I think so. Tell us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about, or maybe show us one simple sitting posture or sitting way of practicing yoga, and we will be bringing you back. And at that time, we will learn more from you about the physical, the posture aspect. But please show us one simple thing about yoga, what it means.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked me to demonstrate something. So I'm going to take a few minutes to demonstrate a meditation technique and also demonstrate a physical exercise so that your listeners, your followers can benefit from both things. So for the physical, I invite you to keep your left hand on your heart and right hand on your belly. Relax the shoulders, relax the elbows completely. Wiggle, shake them. Just get that excess stiffness, that tightness from the shoulders and the elbows. And just stay here. Wherever you are sitting, ground down through the hips, on your mat, on your chair. Allow the legs to become heavy. Feel as if the tailbone is growing down towards the ground. And imagine as if the crown of the head is growing up towards the sky. Now become aware of your breath. And as you inhale, imagine as if the spine is growing tall up toward the sky. And as you exhale, feel the pelvis becoming heavy, pulling down towards the ground. Inhale, growing up towards the sky. Exhale, anchoring deep into Mother Earth. Inhale, grow up towards the sky. Exhale, relax through the lower body, feeling grounded, feeling anchored. Just notice these subtle changes in the body as you breathe in and out, how the lungs are moving, how the chest is moving. In your mind's eye, visualizing the diaphragm lower down as you inhale and lift up as you exhale. Let us add a third element to this mini meditation session. Staying grounded, growing tall, connecting with the upward and the downward movement of the breath. And finally, as you inhale and you see yourself growing up towards the sky, affirm to yourself out loud or internally, whatever your environment allows, I am joyous. Exhale, I am secure. Inhale, I am joyous. Exhale, I am secure. Inhale, feel that uplifting feeling come all over yourself. Inhale, I am joyous. Exhale, I am secure. Use your breath. Really believing in these affirmations, really feeling joyous today. Thinking of a moment when you were joyous and inviting that joy into your being in this moment. And as you exhale, grounding down through the lower body, through the pelvis, I am safe, I am secure. And when you're ready, softly open your eyes and release your hands down to your lap.
Wow. I think when you made a point that when you start meditation or yoga, you should keep trying until you find the right teacher. And you just demonstrated what it means. I think we all can learn from YouTube, from reading books. But
Yes.
if you are serious about this thing, like you said, find a teacher. Unfortunately, now, so many different options available to find a teacher. You don't have to go to a studio, you don't have to drive up. You can do it from your own house and just follow. You can take one-on-one or you can take a group class, and I think we will talk about it. But there are so many cost effective options available now that what you just demonstrated clearly proved. I myself felt in a different level of this practice than even when I do it myself at work or even in the evening. So I think you just put me into a high level in like 4.5, 5 minutes. And I think that's a power of finding the right teacher or right guru. So let's go to the posture part.
Yes. Here, oftentimes we spend a lot of time sitting on chairs, and that's just a lifestyle. This is how we are. We sit on chairs a lot of times. So, what can I do, even though I'm sitting on a chair, what can I do to make sure that my lower spine doesn't continue to get compressed? So, I want to decompress my spine, especially the lower spine and the cervical spine. So, let's do some seated stretches that you can do anytime that you're working on your chair. I'm going to move back just a little bit so it's easier for you to observe. Sitting cross-legged, rest your right hand on your left knee. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, look over the left shoulder. Just a simple twist here, nothing, a whole lot is not happening, just very simple twist here. Know that the twist is happening from the chest and the neck. So don't crank through the lower back. Don't try to force anything from the lower back. The movement is happening from the chest and the neck, the thoracic and the cervical spine. And as you exhale, gently release to neutral. Let's switch sides. Left hand on the right knee. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. And exhale, twist, look over the right shoulder. And when you're ready, exhale, release. If you have more time, you can do several of these in one setting. Now inhale, right arm up, reach up. And let's imagine you're sitting on a chair. So when you're ready, breathe out, hold the leg of the chair or just keep your hand on the ground wherever you are and start to lean to the left side. Go as far as you comfortably can. If you want to move that left hand further away from the body, you can do that too. If your neck allows, and if you tend to be tight in your neck, maybe see if you can look up towards the sky. Engage that neck. Pressing into the left hand, inhale, gently lift up. Let's switch sides. Inhale, pause, prepare yourself. And as you exhale, lean to the right side, keeping that left arm straight if possible. If that's too much to ask from the body today, keep a soft bend in your left elbow. The elbow and the shoulder stay in line with the hip. You're just going laterally, opening the spine laterally. Inhale, gently lift up, and exhale, release, let go. We have explored 4 different ways of how we can move the spine. 2 more. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, slowly start to walk your hands towards the front. If you are on the ground, lower down on the ground. If you are on a desk, then rest your forearms on your desk and let your head rest on your desk. So stay here on the ground, on the desk, wherever you are. Complete surrender through the body. And just the more you let go of the head, the more you will feel the lower spine decompressing and opening up. It's a wonderful way to reset the nervous system. And once you have done that, one final movement, so that we have explored the spine in all different directions, is to send the arms behind the back, fingers pointing towards the hips. See how my arms are slightly further away so that I can stretch the arm muscles in my arms as well. Take a deep breath in and puff the chest up towards the sky. Let the head go back, only if your neck allows. If your neck feels stiff, keep looking in front of you or let the head go back. Keep pressing the ground with the heels of your hands so you continue to puff the chest up towards the sky. Rolling the shoulders back and away from the body, really puffing through the chest. Deep breaths here, keep the jaws together. Let the throat muscles open up, the neck muscles open up. Gently bring the chin to the chest and walk your way back to the front. I guarantee you will feel refreshed. You will feel rejuvenated. Just 5 minutes, right? I think we took less than 5 minutes to do these, and that should be more than.
This was another, again, impressive way you demonstrated. And I think as people get into regular practice, the benefits will be so quick and benefits will be so large that I think people will just want to do this thing on a consistent base. I think many of us don't realize that any good habits we form, initially it may be hard, but then not only becomes a second nature, but also becomes so much beneficial. We just have to overcome this inertia of breaking the habit of not doing it. I think we need person like you. We need this kind of a regular reminders to our followers that just do it 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. And I think that brings my next question that as a person, we believe that you could be a good teacher for all of us. So please tell us that who were your teachers when you learn all this yoga and meditation? Because I think at the end of the day, if we know where the teacher got all that information, it'll be easier for us to see what the teacher actually means and actually the teaching what she is doing.
Thank you. No, that's a great question. My my teachers, I have been fortunate enough in my life to have experienced multiple, to have learned from multiple teachers that were just so kind, so loving, and so open in sharing their knowledge. And I use that as my foundation. Growing up, when I was in my school, we used to have this teacher come to our school and teach us yoga, and he would just make it so funny. And so oftentimes we consider yoga as such a serious practice, and he added that element of humor in the class. And I think that made it easy for us as students to learn and to appreciate the practice of yoga. And I try to incorporate that element of lightness and joy in the classes rather than being very strict and very serious about it. I mean, we are not definitely making it a frivolous practice, but really just inviting some lightness and some laughter to the practice. My mother has been a great teacher in my life. I did not have the opportunity to study from the stalwarts like Swami Shivananda, Sri Iyengarji, but I learned from them because of all the wealth of knowledge that they have left for us. For years and years, I practiced Shivananda style of yoga. I practiced following the teachings of Swami Shivananda. And his philosophy, Dr. Shah, just like you, was very much similar to what you believe, that there are strong 4 pillars of good health. And you cannot just focus on one, you need to focus on all the 4 pillars of health in order to be able to stay healthy, in order to be able to stay strong. So positive attitude, well, enough rest, in good diet, and then proper exercise. So his 4 pillars, he believed them and he preached them. I studied extensively Shivananda for many, many years, taught Shivananda classes, studied him. I also resonate with BKS Iyengarji's way of teaching, is because he made yoga accessible to each and everyone. And that resonates with me so much because growing up, I saw my grandmother very dedicated to the practice of meditation, very dedicated to the practice of prayers. And there came a time when she was very old, in her 90s, that she was bedridden and she was not able to practice any of that anymore. And I saw her, I was very fortunate to observe her, that even though she was on her deathbed, we would see that she would do this mentally. Even though she was not able to do it physically, she did everything mentally. She recited mentally, she did the prayers mentally, she did the meditation mentally, and she was continuing with her journey. She was continuing with her practice. And BKS Iyengar does that for us. He teaches us that you're not able to touch your toes, grab a block and touch your toes or touch the block. You're not able to bend this way? Let's find a way. Let's use a strap to help you bend, to help you go deeper in the twist. So that use of props, that use of making the practice accessible to everyone is the one that resonates with me the most, and I like to teach that way. To make this practice accessible to everyone around us. And of course, going all the way back to Patanjali, Yoga Sutras, I've been studying Yoga Sutras for years, and I even now I can say I do not completely get it. And anybody who says he completely gets it, I don't think he gets the point, because they are just so beautiful. They are just so precious and so full of knowledge that one sutra can make sense to you today in a certain way. And 5 years down the line, when you have evolved, you can look at the same sutra and you may interpret a different meaning from that same sutra. So that has been a constant flow in my life, learning from them, learning from the sutras, and all the wonderful teachers around me. I learned from them. I'm a voracious reader. I have so many books on yoga, on meditation. I learned from my students. They are such great teachers that sometimes I feel like, because I teach, sometimes I tend to be a little, I feel inertia a little bit. But when I see my students showing up, then I have to show up. Buddha said, the teacher appears when the student is ready. And when the student is ready, I have no other option but to show up. So they encourage me, they inspire me, and I show up. So there is a group that I have been practicing with Dr. Shah, you won't believe, for almost 7 years, and I can count on one hand the number of times I had to cancel classes. Dedicatedly for many, many years, every single time we get together, no excuses whatsoever, and that dedication teaches me and inspires me on a daily basis.
No, I think your answer is such a perfect answer, because not only you showed us who are the great, great people, including Patanjali, but you also concluded that your students are your best teachers. And I personally have the same philosophy, even though I've studied my Karyadi fellowship at a great place in Boston. I've read a lot of textbooks, but my best teachers, I still feel, are my patients. I learn so much from them every day, so much. So I believe just what you believe, that your students are also your teachers. And that's where I think, finding a teacher like you who actually values students as much as students value the teacher. It's a two-way street, it's a two-way flow. And that's where I think our growth can become exponential. Whenever there is a two-way flow between teacher and the student, the growth becomes exponential. So we are so fortunate to have you come on our show today. Let me ask you a next very important question. Our our movement, our mission, my movement, my mission is very big on women empowerment. We are bringing all various guests, both male and female, who as equally believe in women empowerment as much as I believe. So please tell us, for a woman, for a busy mom, busy wife, busy daughter, busy mom, any person, a woman in their hectic life, how yoga and meditation can overcome some of the disservice done to women for last 3,000 to 5,000 years. How can yoga and meditation contribute to women empowerment?
That's a beautiful question. Thank you for asking that. And I do follow your page regularly, and I do see you invite so many speakers that talk about women empowerment, women's health, all, physical, mental, emotional, all kinds. So yoga, I believe, should be a tool in everyone's toolbox, especially women. Because as women, we are nurturers, we are caregivers, we are providers of all kinds of things. We are responsible for so many things. And now we are also asked to wear another hat of being a working woman. So that adds on to the responsibility, that adds on to the job, the work, the many hats that we have to wear. However, we are not being taught that as the number of hats increases, as the number of responsibilities increases, that we have to increase an amount of time spent in self-care. Nobody's teaching us that. Nobody's telling us. I remember growing up as girls, all of us were told to work hard, told to get a job, told to work, study hard, told to be better moms, told to be better wives, better, homemakers. Nobody told us to be better at taking care of ourselves. Nobody told us that. Nobody tells us that that is an integral part, and that is missing. The analogy is of, let's say, this cup. And I want to share this beautiful drink that is in this cup, which is the way I nurture my family, the way I nurture my colleagues, the way I contribute at work. However, if the drink in this cup is not there, what will I share with other people? So my job is to first fill this cup all the way up to the brim, fill myself up, and then let it flow out. Let it flow out so that so others can enjoy my best self. If I'm angry, if I'm frustrated, if I am weak, if I am having aches and pains, if I'm always flustered and overwhelmed, if I'm depressed and anxious, I have no room to give because my cup is not full yet. I have to take time out to fill my cup. Women have to take time out to fill their cup, practice meditation, practice yoga, and most importantly, practice building community around them. That is one thing that really fuels the soul of women, is building that community and finding those connections, deeper connections, developing those deeper connections, lasting friendships. And I believe that yoga gives you that. Yoga has given me that. When I came to this country, I had nobody. I had no friends, I had no relatives, nobody. And when I started going to the yoga places, I started to re-enter the scene of yoga in the US. I found my community, I found friends, I found these long-lasting, deeper friendships. And so women need to absolutely really have to practice in order to fill themselves up, in order to fill their cup. And really, what happens, Dr. Shah, is that once we start to move, we are able to establish those visceral connections with our own self. The movement is the key that allows for you to connect with those bodily signs that the self is trying to tell you. We had connections to these signs maybe when we were children. Remember when we are as babies, when I'm hungry, the baby is crying and baby makes sure he gets fed. When baby is sleepy, baby makes sure that he is so deeply connected with these visceral cues that he gets done all that he wants. The baby gets what he wants. However, we grown-ups are totally disconnected from these visceral cues. Inviting yoga allows for us to connect with these cues again and to listen to the body. Meditation allows us to be mindful and fall in love with self-care again. So now it's not something about, I have to do this. It is good for me, so I have to do this. It's not that anymore. I should is not there. I should do this. Once you connect with movement, once you connect with those visceral connections again, once you add mindfulness to that, now that warmth and self-love comes from within. Now you don't have to do it. You feel joy doing it. You feel joy taking care of yourself. You feel joy in spending time in self-care. So it is the utmost, and most importantly, mothers are, we started the talk with you and I giving example of our mothers and how they shaped our future, how they shaped our character. So what mothers will do, their children will see them doing. If they practice self-care, if they practice yoga and meditation, mindful movements, and slowing down, closing their eyes and breathing, and controlling, learning how to control the emotions, learning how to regulate, control probably is the wrong word, how to regulate, how to be self-aware, how to have a better memory, how to be more awake and aware and alert and really be present. This is the best gift that we can give to our children. Children are just mirrors. Whatever we do, they will mimic exactly that. So we want to be able to give this gift to the next generation.
No, I think this is such a beautiful answer for all the women to hear. And I think this video will be on YouTube. Hopefully, thousands and millions of people will watch it over the next 100, 2, 3, 500 years. But your demonstration of the analogy with the cup is so important. All women, more so than even men, because women in general, and that's my sincere belief and sincere opinion that women in general are more given than men. I mean, that's my general opinion. I've seen firsthand from my mom, from my sister, my wife. So I think I have personal experience that women in general are bigger giver than men. But at the same time, I don't want all the women to give, and not keep anything for herself. And that's where your demonstration of filling our own self and then let it flow to other people. Because if our self is full of joy, if our self is full of contentness, if we are mindful, if we are healthy, if our sleep is better, we will be better in all the roles given. We means the women, all the roles given to the women. And I think message hearing from a person like you, who is closer to be a realized soul than many of us are, is so critical that you have gone through this life experiences to tell us that what is important as women. And I think I agree with you. Women today wear so many hats. They work outside full time. They have to many times go grocery shopping. Many times they are the cook. Fortunately, it's changing and many men are cooking now. But traditionally women has been the main person in the kitchen. Traditionally women has been a main person to raise the kids. At least in my household it happened. My wife was a major contributor to our kids' well-being, and I think our kids reflect what actually my wife has taught them. The kindness, the truth speaking mentality. I mean, all those things truly come from my wife, actually. So I think woman requires all this recognition, all this education, and we need more people like you to keep reminding all the women that they need to take care of themselves. So that brings my next question: that you have this special type of yoga and meditation called Ashoga Yoga. So please tell us a little bit about it and what it means if somebody wants to start that kind of practice.
Thank you, Dr. Shah. Um, my when I came here as in the US to the West, I realized that oftentimes the classes are taught with only the physical aspect of the practice in mind. And yoga is so much more than just the physical practice, than just the doing the asanas, doing the postures on the mat. It is so much more than that. My goal then became to be able to teach and to be able to incorporate the other elements of the Ashtanga yoga, the eight-limbed yoga that we talked about at the beginning. How can I create a class that has, due to the limitation of the time, of course, you cannot have all the elements, all the 8 aspects of yoga in one class. However, how can I expand the reach of yoga beyond the physical, beyond just the postures, beyond just the asana? How can I invite my members, my students, to live a more mindful and meaningful life? How can I invite my students to reduce their reliance on the physical and the material and learn to be more reliant on the self? How can I teach my students that joy is another feeling just like being sad? How can I teach my students to aim for contentment but not for wanting to be happy? There's nothing wrong in being happy, but being happy is transitory. Being happy is temporary, like being sad, like being any other emotion. Being content is permanent. How can I teach that to my student? With all of these questions in mind, I created classes, yoga and meditation classes, that invite us, that provide us the opportunity to explore these elements of the yogic practice. Take us back to the traditional practice, bring those elements of the traditional practice, include pranayam, include mudras, include meditation, include mantras, include postures, techniques, certain postures that are not part of the regular arsenal, not part of the regular toolbox in a yoga class, and combine all of these elements to create a more holistic classes is that gave birth to my company, Ashoga yoga. And that is my main mission and goal, is to be able to share that love with everyone.
So again, that brings us the thing I always wanted to ask you to come and tell us about our followers and viewers, that if please explain first, how can they look you up online, and how often you do these classes? What is the typical cost structure if somebody wants to join today or tomorrow? And is there anything you can help our followers to try something on a trial base? And if they like it, maybe have a permanent association with you. So please tell us about your online classes and how we can take benefit of it.
Thank you so much. Yes. So I do several things with Ashoka Yoga. I train people to become yoga teachers. And I've been doing that for several years. I've been training people to teach yoga and to teach meditation. I teach workshops that are specifically to learn or to go deeper into the understanding of the Nari system, the energy system, the chakra system. How can we go deeper into the understanding of pranayam, the breath work? I do several workshops. I lead retreats in state and out state, where we just immerse ourselves in the nature and self work and come out better humans. What I also do is provide in-person and group online classes of yoga and meditation. You can go to my website, ashoga.com, and I can leave the link in the description after this session, ashoga.com. When you go there, you can see that I'm teaching online classes several times each week, many meditation and many yoga classes each week. What we do is we break down the postures so that it is accessible to everyone. So no matter where your practice is, I invite you to come. I invite you to show up to the practice and give it a try. As a gift, as a thank you gift to you, Dr. Shah, for inviting me here on your talk today, on your podcast today, I want to extend this offer to all your viewers and followers, that they can go to my website, add a discount code of Dr. Aajay Shah, and they can take a free yoga class and a free meditation class with me for the month of August, and have a taste of what I do, what I teach, and how I teach. And if it resonates with them, if they like it, then they can continue to practice with me. My classes are almost 25 classes, live classes each month. And my cost is less than $60, which brings your average class price to less than $2 or so. So if you get the monthly membership of the 25 classes that you're receiving, you end up pretty much paying like $2 or something for each class, which is very affordable, which is very doable, and leaves you no excuse to not try this class. And once you have done that, once you have tried it and tested it, reach out to me and let me know if that speaks with you. The packages, the membership options and details, everything is on the website. You can study them and see if that speaks to you. The other way you can connect with me is on Facebook, like my page, Yoga with Saba Ashoka Yoga. And you can find me on Instagram, Saba Haider Yoga. I am also adding YouTube videos on my channel under the name Saba Haider. And you can find me there. I have classes ranging from a 2-hour-long class to a 10-minute quick video of stretching. So these are some of the ways that you and your followers can connect with me, find me, and practice with me. And hopefully we will be able to continue to practice for several years to come.
No, I think I definitely ask all our followers to at least take one trial class with you in August, see it for themselves. I think, to be honest with you, if they join as a family, if wife, husband, not even young kids, if they join as a family, the cost structure you have is less than, to be honest with you, less than a coffee a day at Starbucks. And I think not only this will bring so much more productivity. I mean, if we will recover that money in like 5 minutes in increasing productivity, and the remaining time is all for you to keep as an investment a person is making in this practice. Number one. Number two, I think our followers and viewers have not gone through an experience what you provided us today. And I can tell you that there will be so many converters or non-believers today after watching you. Not only your studio, not only with the way you present yourself, the way you look physically. I mean, all those things are extremely impressive. I mean, I am really thankful that you came. And Steve Sharma, thanks Steve Sharma for connecting us. I mean, he is another soldier like you are, like I am, in making everybody happy, healthy, and live long. That's our mission. And we all are together as a team. Like I said, we all are equal team players. Our mission is to win at this living happy, long, and healthy. And we all will keep doing it. So I sincerely ask all our followers, our viewers, to at least try it one class with you in August. So thank you for offering that. If you have anything to say, otherwise, I'm going to be in your class, and we all will see you at that time.
I just like you said, I just want to echo your thoughts, Dr. Sharma. A big shout out and thank you to Steve Sharma. As you said, he is this one altruistic guy that keeps giving and just uplifting the whole community, bringing people together. And I think we are very fortunate and blessed to have him as our friend and community builder. So thank you for that. Thank you for bringing out that point that I completely forgot about the family membership. So once you get that membership for less than $60, it's actually a family membership. And you're not paying for your own self. Everyone in your family can practice with you. And even though when you're practicing, maybe your children will not practice with you, and they know that they are allowed to be in the room, they know that they can practice with you just by observing you, just by seeing you practice, you're already planting the seeds. You're already doing the work. And you will be surprised how soon these seeds grow into beautiful trees that give beautiful fruit and flowers. So yes, the membership includes family membership, and everyone practices for free. Everybody else practices for free. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much again, Saba, and we'll see you again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shah.
Yeah,
thank you. It was my honor. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.